A lurch in your stomach at the sight of the drop. Your fingers itch for grip. Wet cloth and iron dust. Foul. Chemical. Tiny silhouettes drift beneath the surface, darting in irregular arcs. Looking at the device, you don't see a panel or switch. That would suggest a control room nearby. Like the one over there, to the east. The intercom is covered by a protective plastic film. A button embossed in the shape of a cheerful dolphin shines at the bottom. Yet another device bearing the Renotel emblem. Only recently installed too. Tautening the outer defenses. Strip that plastic off. Now. It curls under the edge of your fingernail and slides off in a single, unbroken piece. Exquisite. You can see your reflection, flipped in the unblemished metal. There's a compulsion to check your reflection every time you pass a mirrored surface. Like a hallway mirror glance on the way to a date, you do the same before you call Melita, even though you know she'll never see you. Nothing happens. The lights are off. There's nobody to answer at night. Or maybe somebody's just been left in the dark. Try again during business hours. The revealed intercom.
You shouldn't be here.
The big man was dozing off. Now he's trying to cover it up with a vulgar display of authority.
Please don't. I'll get enough of that from the wife. Yeah, I guess so. Anyway, like I said, you shouldn't be here. Bit of a hold-up with a barge over there. He nearly got robbed. By a gang, no less.
It wasn't us. We plead not guilty, officer.
Nothing was taken, luckily, but they did manage to break the damn thing's engine. So now it's stuck there until the replacement parts arrive. Can't say I have. I'm not usually stationed round here, though, so I wouldn't. Let's see now. I hear it's in the back ways. Right next to where the ex-pilots drink their sheep carcass juice. Some indigenous recipe it is. Imagine the worst thing you've ever tasted. Now imagine sucking it out of a dead sheep's arse.
Please don't imagine that. Definitely don't be tempted to drink it either.
If you want to see for yourself, just walk the path all the way to the west until you come across some old men giving each other an hard time. Oh, very dangerous. Probably one of the Azuri lot. Yeah, you wouldn't want to mess with them, miss.
Buffing himself like a castrated cockerel in an attempt to masculate himself. Azuri mob is a foreign crime syndicate you've only heard about in passing, always with a warning to stay away.
No, no. Full-grown adults. I heard one of them even had a beard. The parts may take a while as the trade route slowed up recently. Used to be a lot quicker a couple of weeks ago. The rest of the developed world. Must be something at the docks by the bazaar, but I wouldn't know more specifically, outside of my jurisdiction. You can't go in there, I'm afraid. That's what I'm here for. No one gets in.
Working for the Opera technically means you don't officially exist. Therefore...
Ho ho! That's funny. I see what you did there. Only the controls to the waterlock, but we can't risk anyone lowering the water right now. It would damage the barge even further, you see. You probably shouldn't.
Rubbish is piled so high it overflows the rim of the metal container. The sanitation crews are running behind schedule. The layers of detritus are many days deep. A whole history of discarded artifacts is piled up in front of you. This bin is an archive. Search it and you may conjure the recent history of this place. You feel warmth radiating from the inside. Something in there is fermenting. This calls for deep urban forensics. The archives demand bravery and diligence. The mass before you is divided into 3 distinct strata. A thorough analysis will require you to explore each. Your choice. Nothing of note yet. False teeth, a broken bottle. Oh, there's some soul of you on it. You pluck a few coins from the fetid heap. A couple of them are covered in an unknown greasy substance. Keep it together. Don't think about the chittering infestations thriving in here. Various slimy textures slide up your hand as you dip into the dregs. Your fingers graze something sharp. Paper, maybe. Quickly, before the sludge reclaims it, you catch the object with your fingernails and gingerly lift it out of the rock. It seems to be a small wad of misprinted paper. The machine that printed this was clearly faulty, as the words have either smeared across the pages or doubled up to form incomprehensible deep black runes. Demonically compromised, a machine's desperate cry for help. The paper wad has nothing else to report. It exists only as a reminder to clean your printer heads. Deeper. There are more strata to go. You pick carefully through the warm middle strata until you bump against a papery wad. Expired coffee, greasy condiment residue, typewriter ink, chemically processed wood pulp. 2 for yes, 1 for no. The echo in the room. A gasp without breath. Chin up, gaze fixed on the radiant tomorrow. The dead man's parade marches past and I am left behind. A decent imitation of Genghis Balik's style of free verse, but they could have gone harder with the adverbs. A scrawl of red ink above the typed words. We thank you for your submission. Unfortunately, at this time the Nos Correntes review will not be moving forward. This rejected submission would imply that their offices are nearby. Perhaps the building next to you. You've now penetrated to the darkest and wettest layer. A metallic thud tells you that you've reached the bottom of the bin. Your fingers get to work. However, the rancid smell threatens to suffocate you. The bitter scent of rotten vegetable matter fills your nasal cavities. Saliva pools in the corners of your mouth. Luckily, your diligence is not in vain. Your fingers catch on something hard in the furthest corner of the sludge pile. Rounded for the most part, there are some sharper lines at the extremities as well as some flat surfaces. It's a pair of grimy glasses, large black frames, and what must be the thickest prescription lenses available. The missing vendor. These are the glasses he was wearing in the photo Merlin showed you. A dread certainty sinks in. The rubbish container and all its spoils continue to rot through time.
I told you this place is off limits. It's been targeted by a gang. Taken? Like this story. That old bat put you up to this, did he?
His jowls flap like a dog shaking off spittle.
Move along, please. I haven't got time for this. No, I don't. I've got plenty more things to do than keep track of everyone's highway.
Judging by the state of his body, those things don't require him to move much, if at all.
And? Oh, let me think a second. I reckon... Yep, that must be it.
Don't be fooled. He's making a mockery of you.
Language. Young women these days think they can swear openly at a GM. Going downhill this world. You probably shouldn't.
I'll be seeing you.
The fire exit stands conspicuously ajar. Someone has wedged it open with a ball. Wrong. Ball wants to play, not wedge. You raise your hand to wave at the engineer on his pylon. He waves back. Nobody is paying any particular attention to the door, or seems close enough to care. It's a pelota ball, the local variation of handball. Pelota balls are not designed for use as doorstops. Someone has elevated this ball to contraption status. This ball is an act of resistance against the bosses and their fire codes. Are you on the side of the ball or the boss? It's just a ball in a door. A shortcut. But whose? A dark hallway. At the opposite end, you can just make out the bottom of a metal staircase. A fine place to hide in a moment of crisis. Marked and remembered. No, it's a trap. Must be destroyed. You emerge into the rusted insides of a deceased mechanical beast. The only light comes dimly from above a set of steel stairs, which you alight carefully, gripping the cold railing. The sticker on the panel reads, Propriedade de Reno Hotel. In the center, the company's dolphin mascot grins. Inside, you find a dirt-covered computer terminal. Above the gridwork of corroded wires, a sleek cable cuts a path towards the antenna. The ancient terminal groans in response. Relays clack in a series of deep, satisfying clicks, like pistol chambers locking into place. System waking. Please wait. Welcome to Renatel Control version 1. That's a text cursor, and it's waiting for your input. When you type in a sequence of characters it recognizes as a command, the machine will react. The artery before you connects to every device connected to the Renotel wireless network. The text cursor highlights the blank space where your command should go. You should be able to pull up a directory of all network terminals. Try directory or network. Error. Directory is not a recognized command. Load in network. Pixels wink in and out of existence before slowly etching themselves into something larger. A chaos of blinking black squares, apparently random, and yet cohering into a shape that stirs something in your mind. Before you, Portofiero's wireless network, a constellation of flickering nodes floating in a landless void. Dormant stars waiting for ignition. You're one of the blinking pixels. That much is clear. Which one, though? There, close to the center, amid the hundreds of black squares, there is a single asterisk, blinking slowly. It can only be the Renotel artery's location. You look to a region of the map where only a few scattered pixels blink amid stretches of empty screen. The densely populated heart of the city, where terminals pile on top of each other, dozens to a square meter. You step away from the district. The fire exit remains ajar, ball wedged into the crack. You pocket the ball and close the fire door firmly. The fire door is still tightly closed. The door sits Refreshments are lined up like brightly coloured soldiers, neatly regimented behind coiled spring. Your eyes are immediately drawn to the prices, printed in neat black and white beneath each row. They're even more expensive than the vending machines in the airport at Treffe on your way here. But you are not of Portofino. If the world would deny you even these small pleasures, then perhaps you should deny the world its ill-gotten cash. You're in the clear. Give it a go. The machine whirs happily, recognizing its master's shibboleth, and spits out the cash into your hand. It's not been long since you broke into one of these. Best give it a bit. The refreshments remain. The man gives no indication of registering your presence. His mirrored sunglasses are turned skywards. But he's aware you're here. The industrial skyline beyond is bone white in the moonlight. Shattered teeth and a ruined mouth.
I'm light sensitive. Moon gets strong at this latitude.
No one is sensitive to moonlight. He just thinks he looks cool.
Help you with something?
His jacket's been patched over many times. Storied. The slightest hesitation. Something's off here. It must be slain. A jolt of fear snaps through you, but you manage to not let it show. Six-headed mud skippers that feed on men. Tentacled creatures that stink like 1,000 corpses. Giant sea urchins that paralyze their prey before devouring them while they're still alive. Yes. One of 8 great trenches in the mapped world. Its edges run from the Telmar Gulf to the Lio Aran Sea. Conservative estimates suggest a depth of 12,000 meters. An old, low-slung workhorse with tar patches, welded plates, and mismatched boards. Resin on the seams, hairline cracks across the hull. Someone's been fighting to keep it alive. Marina 32, early 70s issue, Portofino manufacturing, built for municipal dredging, but this one's been heavily modded. Long dead hands carrying the hull, white fingers in the brine. You know where this is going, right? You're not going to just walk into it. Treaties, obligations to foreign banks and bureaucracies, third-party audits, all part of joining the developed world. A big gang where no one's your friends, and there's always more palms to grace. He lowers his head in brief salute. The Guardian Municipal officer is intensely scratching at his neck. As you approach, he wipes his hand on his trouser leg.
Hola, miss. Hope there's a reason you've stopped an officer while he's on duty.
The folks who guard property rights are not worthy of answers.
No better place for that. Officer Morito, agente coordinador for the Guardia Municipal. Do you need help with anything? I can tell you Petra the music vendor's a major arsehole. I asked him about an old Blood Golem disc, and he told me he'd rather tie polystyrene blocks to his feet and jump in the canal than look for it.
Doesn't make sense. Why not go for something that sinks?
I told him as much. He said that was the point. His demise should be slow, so that I'd hear him scream for hours. I suspect he mostly hates himself. I don't get why he brings up all this violent stuff all the time. If he ever goes through with it, there won't be any shock value. It'll just be sad. Blood Golem is a band. Blood Golem heals all wounds. It's the sound that raised us from shit-crusted upright apes into humans. The antithesis of Blood Golem, that. Sounds more like primitivist folk trash. Blood Golem might have been banned where you're from. Their post-sludge is too revolutionary for most places. Primal, filthy, slow, all ending. Like an army of giants growling underwater while smashing cliffs together. As a matter of fact, too powerful for most Portoferans. It's like nobody cares about our own music anymore. Or art, really. We've had instances of theft around the docks recently. All the crates were ripped open in strange ways. Anything and everything. Seems like the work of kids, if you ask me. Must be trying to scare people too, as weird noises have been heard at night. Screaming and howling.
Animal, rival.
Apart from that, it's quiet. Just how I like it. The quieter, the better, I'd say. Really, the hardest part's keeping people away from the boars. It's not the young you need to worry about. We're dealing with an infestation. and they get much larger. How bad does it look?
A smeared pattern with streaked edges. You can rule out natural irritants.
There is this topical ball repellent I've been using. Instructions said to apply generously.
Common boar deterrents. Loud noises and strong smells, such as predator urine, placed in strategic locations.
Are you serious? And right in the middle of a boar infestation, too. It used to be a seasonal problem. Every autumn, some adults would come down bold and hungry. But lately, it's more of a permanent residency. The hills up north, as far as I've heard. Valle de Suspiro. You've got thorns, ferns, old trees. A nightmare to patrol. At best, they're a nuisance. The little ones are fine, but the adults could take off a kneecap if you're not careful. And then there's the really big one, the mother.
The way he intones the word mother suggests a primitive monotheist before an image of a graven god.
They don't seem so bad if they're alone, but they're never alone. Get 5 or 6 together and they can take down a grown man. Oh, 100, 150 kilos? Easy. Enough to stop a tuk-tuk going full speed. But even they got nothing on the mother. Massive. Furs all matted, covered in scars, territorial too. Preys on drunks, stumbling back from Party Alley. You shouldn't joke like that. All mothers are special, even this one. No love like a mother's.
No damage either. Touching. The kind of bond only 2 pigs can share.
Anything that can survive on the streets of Kisok has got the stars' favor. And I have respect for astrology. So when the mother comes around, I do my best to keep civilians out of the backways. Tusks, claws, knives, bullets. Take your pick. Every few years, some brave moron tries to take her down, but she's
Must find Borsen.
You got a weird glint in your eyes. Let's not do anything stupid, all right? You back away, slowly. If you get a whiff of it charging, find something to climb if you can. And then, come find me.
A tinge of affection. He radiates pure worry. She might as well be his own child. Absolute, unshakable certainty. But she deserves to know, doesn't she? She's alone. No dad, no gang. Let's not tell her shit. As you step away, the GM returns to scratching his inflamed skin. monolith of gleaming beverages, encased in glass and light. Strange patterns and vivid colours abound. One catches your eye in particular. A striking red and black can marked Heifer Red and Black Special Edition. Delicious scarcity. Obtain. Absurd logos, hollow jargon, painted metal. Resist. Automated, unfeeling commerce stares back at you. It is no coincidence that the contraption before you mirrors the proportions of a coffin, featuring a transparent lid for the necro-voyeurs. The machine doesn't care about your financial situation. Either it receives your money, or you do not exist. You may find it impossible to forget Heifer Red and Black Blend Special Edition. Heifer Red and Black. You may find it. A watertight marine door, designed to keep out the rough seas as well as any intruders. A small placard above the entryway reads, Community Care Clinic, open 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. That would necessitate coming within spitting distance of his hated rival. Neither doctor is willing to break their date on. Differences of opinion in medical practice are just the tip of the iceberg here. You could do that. The hull of the boat looks solid as the door. However, around the corner, on the stern side, you notice a window, slightly ajar. A stack of dingy life vests piled underneath provides a convenient step up. Just another sly break-in. Flashlight between our teeth. All the old school gang egging us on. Can still hear the screams from when it looked like we might fall. You climb up to the window frame and peer inside. A clear path. A spot to land just inside the window frame. Dark bookshelves, eerie silhouettes of medical equipment. The faint grey outline of a desk. No one sitting behind it. Smooth. If all our friends had been around to see that, they'd think we were so sick. The ease of a seal on ice. The second you land on the other side, a muscle somewhere in the meat of your hip immediately twinges. The one personal touch in the otherwise sterile, blank clinic. The wall has been decorated with photographs, documents, evidence of Dr. Hugo's existence. Lights glint off the glass as you read what's under them. Multiple medical school degrees and a City of Portofino license to practice, issued by the Portofino Board of Medicine to a Hugo Hayato. The document has to be displayed by law. Operating an unlicensed clinic inside the city limits is strictly prohibited. However, due to a loophole in the city code, the canals aren't technically a part of Portofino. Tempo sang the praises of that particular loophole more than once. The license is real, but it's out of date. There's a faded stamp half hidden behind the frame. The renewal date reads Octos 91. Perhaps something to confront the good doctor about. A collage of someone else's life begins to take form in front of you. Moments caught, suffocated, pinned under glass. A formal photo, class of 71. Hugo buried somewhere amongst rows of other fresh-faced new doctors. Then a newsprint clipping. Hugo receiving an award on stage. Hugo and a handsome bearded man, both grinning, their arms around each other's shoulders. The gallery continues. Hugo asleep on a pile of medical textbooks, drooling. Hugo adjusting some sort of massive medical apparatus. Hugo at patients' bedsides. He's haunted by the ghost of himself, the person he should be now, hovering just out of reach. He wouldn't have willingly given up a career that meant so much to him. Maybe he was doing surgeries drunk, or inappropriately touching patients. Or maybe this whole thing is a good person suffering for an unjust twist of fate. The medical board also stripped Dr. Gonza of his credentials. Maybe the seemingly more respectable Dr. Hugo's had trouble with his license too. There are many pictures of a much younger Hugo and a woman with a heart-shaped face. At his medical school graduation, at a fancy dinner, both of them grinning on a broad walk somewhere, her in a white pantsuit and Hugo in a charcoal robe. A simulation of company, carefully arranged on the walls to keep him surrounded through the long days. Ghosts gathered. A ladder reaches towards the upper floor, creaking as the boat rocks gently. You head on up, careful not to alert anybody who might be on board. You don't climb so much as glide, feet hovering over each wooden step, the corded muscle of your biceps hauling most of your body's weight up the ladder. You made it. A child's set of toy figurines sits on the shelf, stiff forms painted and posed, carefully arranged to watch down on whoever sleeps in the bed. The paint is chipped and worn. These figurines have been well loved, played with often. The posters on the wall, the quilt, the faint smell of nearly body lotion. It doesn't feel like it belongs to the man downstairs. This is an adolescent girl's room. A daughter, maybe. Elsewhere, a miniature rocket and a group of cosmonauts. Words painted on the side of the launch vessel. Proyecto Autonomia. Portafero's failed space program. These toys are yet another remnant. Project Autonomia was Sweet Nestor's idea fixa, meant to establish Portaferro as a sparefaring nation. The mission was first announced in 75, and its inaugural launch was set for 77. The rocket never reached orbit. It disintegrated minutes after the launch. The disaster was broadcast in real time all across the developed world. We remember hazy footage of a bright flame on a small television screen. The disaster led to Sweet Nestor being exiled in 80, the third and final time. He left in his wake decades of stabilization loans yet to be repaid. A national tragedy for Portaferro, an excellent quarter for Emter. There's no date that you can see. Look at the cosmonauts' expressions. Pride, determination, joy. These aren't commemorative, they predate the disaster. Orange-suited plastic men, cherubic faces squeezed into little helmets. Two sit inside the rocket. One is planting the Portaferan flag on a pretend lunar surface. You stare at a vacant spot next to the badly painted rocket. One of the figurines must be missing from the set. Even the smallest, the childhood The thing in the bed stares with vacant intensity. Slowly, details emerge. A molded jawline, curved torso, and multi-jointed limbs. Positioned with uncanny tenderness. A medical dummy, left out on the bed, propped up against the pillows. A tag dangles from its wrist. Its expression, frozen in time, helpless, but not distressed. PVC skeleton with silicon skin overlay, flexible polymer joints, compressible chest plate, designed to endure repeated trauma. The dummy seems posed with some kind of intention. It has been placed carefully. Some amount of love has gone into it. It means something, perhaps a lot, to whoever put it here. They would be sad to see it go. The dummy continued. Printed words, property of Dr. Gonza, and scribbled right under, to myself, for when I'm not myself. Behold, ultimate sovereignty, Gonza's republic of himself. Gonza's so-called personal effects, without a doubt. The dummy sits still, head in a comfortable enough position. It stares back at you, unmoving. A silicon oval, unframed. Shadows reveal the protrusions of nose, eyelids, mouth. Before you lies something that resembles a human face. But whose? You can almost hear her speaking. What is it now, Cascade? The lips of the dummy remain still, and yet the voice continues. Why am I naked, Cascade? Well, aren't you going to answer? Are you going to touch me, Cascade? Asked the dummy in your controller's voice. It still hasn't moved, nor have you. Melita, the real one, would agree. Maybe you should stop staring at the dummy now. The dummy's face is unchanged, despite made of glass, pale blue, wet-looking. Each is flecked with tiny artificial veins. And painted iris rings, faint but deliberate. Someone wanted this thing to stare. Money has been sunk into this, and time, and a certain kind of obsession. Minutes pass. The houseboat gently sways. Specks of dust gather on the objects around you. Your joints begin to ache. The dummy doesn't move. Must be stiff, holding a position that long. You pull focus. The dummy continues to... The empty bed is sadder than when it was occupied, somehow.
Bored? What do you want? Metaganza.
Something childlike and almost innocent enters his tone and gaze.
I'll have to hose him down after whatever that swine Hugo Abe has done to him. But it doesn't matter. He's home. Shut the fuck up.
The doctor eagerly reaches for the wiretapped medical dummy and stares lovingly into its eyes.
Next time you should get the payment up front. I could fuck you over, you know. Most in my profession would. Here, let me know if you need more. Store's open. That's a trick question. Can't you tell?
Jaw jutting out, eyes wild. He's putting himself forwards as a candidate.
He's called Metagonza, and he's my assistant. Made to look like me in every way. He's going through a phase. Anyway, he's tired now and needs to rest. Are we done? What did the swine do this time? Architect? A child making macaroni collages is more of an architect than that invertebrate. Not to mention the fungus in his brain. You want more? All right. He's a thief, too, which, I'll admit, is impressive for a gastropod. You mean, other than my life's work? Yes, certain irreplaceable person. I can picture him, polishing my equipment in his sterile little office, running his sanitized virgin fingers over surfaces that remember my touch. It sickens me.
Filth soiled by cleanliness.
I don't know. His mind is too dull for me to penetrate. The brain fungus told him to. Probably. A research-grade apparatus, used for advanced diagnostics. It should still be in its...
The implication is that you'll know it when you see it. Extremely ominous.
And give him the satisfaction of knowing he has something... Besides, I don't trust myself not to murder him if I come within choking distance. Wait, not murder. Wait. You love drugs, right?
Yes. Your brain is...
I knew it. Since you're allowed on the slug's premises, how about taking a peek?
2 words. Lab grade.
Yes, enough. Adios, patient.
The machine is still... Observe the capitalist box as it relieves itself out of fear. Mock it so it knows how pathetic it looks. Yes, this is what happens when you draw a perimeter around commodities and charge a fee for entry. Tear it open and take what you need. This is your right as one of the people. It's not been long since you broke into one of these. Best give it a bit more time before you strike again. The refreshments remain.
I'll print. I'll be here if you...
You return to your double's limp body. Peeling wallpaper hangs above your bed. Uninspiring. Faded patterns. A great void of expression. A shadow from a passing aero tram crosses the wall momentarily. Bagman watches on approvingly as you secure his position. The wall feels less dreary as you turn away from it. The bed welcomes you for a soft slumber. The anticipation of a decent rest pulls you towards the pillow. You return to the desk. ZWS. For Cascade. You turn away from the desk. You return to your doubles. Bagman gestures. The sounds from the...
I'll print. Nothing, I'm afraid. I'll be here if you require.
Oh, you're back.
As you depart, the machine is still... It's not been long since you broke into... The refreshments remain... The clinic's metal door is scabbed with rust and surrounded by graffiti. An official-looking sign hangs to the right of it. Open nights, no knocking. Next animal who bleeds on this door gets sedated through the eye. Scrawled badly in horrific fonts. Fraud, butcher. Gonza owes me a tooth. Charged me for screaming. A vulgar drawing of a doctor seemingly fornicating with a leg. Warped frame, cheap steel, hinges rusted like old teeth. No reinforcement. We could kick this in, but it would make a lot of noise and a lot of mess. You turn back to...
You're back.
Sure. You're confronted by a striking image in bold red and black. A woman perched on a sofa in a simply furnished apartment. A handgun lies across her lap. On the table next to her, a beverage in an appealing slim can. In white text, contrasted against the black shadows, the words, "Safe house is anywhere." This woman is being paid to convince you it is. It's nothing like the ones they have back in the People's Republics. The woman's fingers caress the weapon, a gesture of intimacy. Effa Red and Black Special Edition. The can is adorned with a handful of coffee beans, a sugar cane, and a splash of cream. There is no other identifier. The words begin to blur before your eyes. Your eyes snap back into focus. The woman, the gun, the appealing can are all as they were. Around you, the sounds of Party Alley resume. Yet another poster that would look awesome on the wall above your bed. Dried flakes of paste drift to the pavement as you peel the advert from the wall and roll it up. You find yourself you leave the old You step over the threshold and into a memory. This place, this bar, the center of the frozen world. Old schnapps and the faded sour cologne of body odor and bleach. Soft yellow light filtered through cracked shades. The rumble of the ice machine. A hissing television. Exactly how you remember it. Favorite den of Keysok's local pelota squad and their partisans, as well as a certain disgraced spy of the operant bureau. Back when you were still the old Cascade. Pre-failure, pre-disgrace, pre-despair. Stale air circulates your lungs. The taste is familiar. Shades from another time move endlessly across the ancient wood, pickling it with nostalgia. Your eye is drawn to the shelf behind the bar, littered with dusty bottles. The best part about this place is that it's open all night, every night. Its doors are always open to you, as they are now. In the machine aisles is a lineup of smokes, candy, and canned coffee. It strikes you that the machine is within clear sight of the bartender at all times. The goal, she who toils and sweats while the vending automaton does nothing but dispense cheerfully, uncaringly, and at a significant price markup. Put yourself in her shoes and imagine if you would so blindly tolerate an automaton that seeks to replace you. No machine can ever understand the value of money. Therefore, it does not deserve yours or anyone else's. Money exists like a theatre to a machine. Flesh beings trading paper and metal in futile hope that it will solve their differences. If you change your mind, they'll still be here, dormant in their artificially chilled chamber. On the wall above, mounted like the taxidermied head of a bull moose, is a toilet. Scratched and yellowed porcelain, a notable smudge on the lip of the sea, brownish. The smudge is not what it appears to be, not the most obvious suspect at least. From across the room, the bartender notices your gaze and the expression on your face.
Don't worry. The smudge on the rim is just blood. 83. Kisok versus Recreación. The referee sent Peña off on a bullshit call. A riot ensued, as per tradition. Someone ripped a toilet right out of the washroom wall and chucked it at the Recreación supporters.
Even the polluter ball, tossed back and forth by forces greater than itself, occasionally gets the chance to crunch against the nose of those who would try to catch it. Kisok's pride, the moment it all peaked, when all the madness and meaning in the world swelled into one glorious, unstoppable wave. On that day in '83, it transformed into a protest against the corrupting influence of the liberal menace, a porcelain praxis. Countless injuries were reported in the aftermath of the incident, and 2 fatalities confirmed. The bartender gives a small, approving nod in your direction.
What do you have? No, I don't think we have. I'm Lucia. What brings you back? First rounds on the house, then. What will you have?
You see the glint of a silver medallion around her neck as she moves to give you a view of the selection behind the bar.
You can pay if you want.
She spritzes an astringent cleaning fluid on the counter and buffs it to a dull shine. She reaches for a half-full bottle of pink-tinged liqueur. In due course, a small trumpet-shaped glass appears before you. The glass makes a little thunk as it hits the bar. You down it in one go, as is tradition. Notes of industrial turpentine and sour pear.
So, here to meet your friend? Over there.
She gestures towards an older man in a booth. His back is to you.
Strange. He said he was expecting someone like you. No. That's a display of Kisok generosity. He said you were in the same line of work. No. This is about it. But it's mostly just me in here doing all the work. Takes it out of me. Yeah, we have a couple of kids who come in and clear tables. Sometimes I let them serve, but they're unreliable. Friend of yours? He was here a few days ago. Seems to have come in to have a chat with your man over in the corner booth. The one you've never seen before.
She shakes her head. She stays silent, waiting for you.
Hasn't given one. Schnapps, so far. Not much. Mostly drinking and fiddling with paper. Imports and exports.
She makes a show of clearing her throat before your next question. She glances over at the man as he sits silently at his booth, transfixed by something in his hands.
Perfectly polite. Keeps to himself. Hasn't caused any trouble. Pays in cash. Bit of a lizard, I suspect.
She shakes her head.
Exceptionally. You are asking a lot of questions about this man. Sure, but that's enough now. Either talk to him yourself or drop it altogether.
She picks up a cloth and absent-mindedly starts wiping the counter.
Don't tell me you're in Portofino for the phone sex. Well, I'm glad it's not our only draw. It's a payphone to the west of here. It overlooks the water. You'll know it from the group of excited old men nearby. Close by. I grew up about 5 minutes from here. If you're born Kisok, you never really leave. You know why they call it Party Alley? Bingo. It's Calle del Partido. From when we still had El Partido Comunista. They built the plaza around the Palace of Culture, not the other way around.
The bartender doesn't acknowledge the gesture.
Haven't you seen it all already? Thought you used to be a regular. Probably. The Bootleg Bazaar, Beetle Tract, Palace of Culture, and I already told you about the Miracle Line. Cheap tat is usually popular with tourist types. Lot of people lived there until it got bulldozed to build Sweet Nestor space program back in the 70s. Abandoned now, of course.
He fled to an unknown location after being exiled for the third and apparently final time, though a small collection of loyalists await his return.
Not much. Nestor built it during his communist period. Building's still impressive from the outside, but it's been falling down slowly. You can find it at the top of Party Alley. It's a 24-hour...
She nods, happy to stop playing the tour guide.
See you.
Under a thick, curved screen, colors rip and tear into each other, making it impossible to make sense of what is currently playing. A discolored bloom of interference mars the corner of the screen, tinting the dancing mascot on the sidelines purple.
Oh yeah. Pro typos are garbage. I suppose I'll buy a new one. Again. Nothing lasts anymore.
By design, the architects of the developed world would have you accept an endless cycle of consumption and decay. Televisions should be neither large nor their screens thin. They should be small, square, demure, and watched in carefully monitored moderation. Electrons deflected by magnetic interference. The shadow mask has been corrupted. Without an instrument of magnetic banishment, you are near powerless to exorcise the demons of distortion from the fogged mirror's television.
Oh. No. I'm not sure what you're even talking about. No wands here.
All hope may not be lost. The proximity of the speakers to the CRT screen has caused this blight, so perhaps removing their malign influence will, if not completely free the television, at least prevent its further defilement. The bartender stands on her toes and moves the speaker a few centimeters. Almost instantly, the purple blotch recedes.
Well then. Good eye. Thank you.
For a quarter of an hour, you watch as men in short shorts and tall socks hurl a leather sphere against concrete with tremendous force. Their passionate grunts are matched only by the violent impacts of the ball. You study their movements carefully, a beautifully choreographed display of physical prowess. Despite your unprepossessing appearance, you acquitted yourself admirably in the major physical arts, receiving higher than average marks for your cohort. The words of your old double Holocene come to mind. In the so-called developed world, the whole political and cultural economy of a place is revealed through its sporting rivalries.
Thought you said you were a regular once upon a time. That's Kisok PC. Everyone around here goes for them.
The locals local. Team of the working classes with strong ties to the old silk industry. Thin ribbons of the old fabric sewn into the tops of their socks.
Recreación. Bunch of pretty boys in short shorts.
Their lack of expression is so blank as to be an expression itself. Recreación is a money laundering vehicle for the profiteer class. Those who've won the end of history by steering years of stabilization packages to their chosen enterprises. Needless to say, a significant part of their players' salaries are paid by Enter.
Stabilization hasn't done much for Kisok. Viva Kisok! Just remember that we're not allowed to use the WCs in another team's arena. I guess they're worried someone will take it upon themselves to recreate the ceramic panic of '83. One person rips out a toilet and lobs it into the stands. One time! And if not, there are plenty of plastic bottles around.
The bartender gives you a brief, familiar nod as you An older man, heavy-set, looks up as you approach. On the table next to him is a large plastic box. An accordion hose runs from the side of it and disappears between his shirt buttons. Like a dead octopus, smothered and forgotten about.
Opera. Bon of you to drop by. Though a bit earlier than I was expecting.
It should be said that you've never seen this man before in your life.
No matter. You're here now. That's what counts. Some reputations precede. I heard a notorious spy had escaped from the freezer and was running amok in theater. Had to see for myself. Now here you are, in living color. Cascade, known to some as Herschel Wilk.
Your stomach tightens. Predator, caution. You might still be able to play this off. You've been here before. This is your home pitch. Act like it.
Of course, recognition's a dangerous quality in our profession. Still, most would say it's preferable to being a null entity.
Null entity. The Operant Bureau's preferred name for those it would rather forget. His shirt is very ugly, it must be said. Perhaps a kind of social scramble pattern.
But my sordid history's not the subject here. It's you everyone's asking about. Old friends, professional critics, big-time players in the international organ market. All kinds of stuff. They're asking, has she figured out her assignment yet? What's going on with her double? Does she still have it? Thrilling questions all. But mainly, they're concerned about your heart. Straight to it. Fine. Let's be blunt. The Opera have dropped you in a river of shit. Maybe I can help you get yourself out of it. This thing? No. This is just the plastic box that keeps me from shaking the Manus Fati.
To shake the hand of fate is to die in this part of the world. Gentle electronic tones rise and recede from it like the tide against a digital beach.
Last I heard, the original article was sitting on a desk in a third-level sub-basement somewhere in Nevessa. Story for another time, I'd say. More like a private joke that went a little too far.
A hiss, followed by the frantic clack, clack, clack of a microfiche reader. High contrast negatives hit the back of your retinas. 58, collapse of Ile-de-Seurs's Grand Bridge. 60, Laplage's royal family liquidated. 63, suppressed uprising in PR Yoffi. 67, the Agora minor blackout. No direct attribution possible. Cross-references simply point to one figure, skipping in the margins of history. Cryptonym redacted. Date of birth redacted. Nation of origin disputed. Joined the Opera late 40s. Declared null entity in 69. There are old reports of a botched naval blockade in 69. Eastern republics. A friendly fire incident. Tenuous, but failure has a cost. The microfiche reader clacks a final time, settling on a monochrome picture. Beneath it, a nom de guerre. His fleshy cheeks pull his mouth into just the slightest approximation of a smile. A name whispered among tutors and veterans, invoked like a demon from a lost mythology.
Warms the heart to know people still talk about you when you're not around.
The posture remains, yet the gravity in the air thickens.
Well met, Operant. What can I... This was your old haunt, was it not? See why you're drawn to it. Spacious, decent sightlines. Noisy enough to make bugging impractical.
At this hour, the bar is nearly empty except for the hardcore alcoholics. And yourselves, of course. Meanwhile, the bartender washes a few glasses in a tiny sink, looking up every now and then towards the television.
Yes. This place will do. Our temporary office. Long as we're both in Portofino, of course. As I said, wanted to witness your return to live action myself. Just because I'm bereft of official existence doesn't mean I can't keep an eye on the younger generation. Maybe pass along a little practical wisdom here and there.
Spoken like an old coach haunting the edge of a pitch.
Verdict still out. Doesn't even seem like you made it as far as your unfortunate double. Almost like you made straight for the bar. Interesting approach. Working with locals. Good. A chance encounter, believe it or not. I took your man's temperature and no more. Gastropod, is it?
A brief sniff. Total lack of interest. Grounded, wet trail, retreated into his shell. Not bad at all.
Even worse. How's he getting on? Haven't seen him for a few days. True to your reputation, betrayer of bonds, decathlete of disappointment. Unfortunately, that seems to be the modus these days. Chiseling hunks of frost-burnt meat out of the freezer and tossing them straight into the grinder. Must be a better way, you'd think. Barbarous youth storming the gates, hoisting its dirty flag. You got age on your side, but have you got it? Rhetorical question remains to be seen. It? That ineffable, inexplicable quality essential to success in theater. Frequently discussed, rarely demonstrated. No, it is uncountable and immeasurable. Much to the chagrin of the chart fuckers who lately seized control in Nevesser and the other citadels of secret power. And yet, when in its presence, none can deny. Not that, it. If you can't even tell the difference, you're off to a poor start, I'd say. Depends. Do you want to grab reality by the face, tear off a false skin, and stare into the abyss of stars inside her skull? There was a time when someone believed you might, seeing as they trusted you to set up the opera's last Portaferra network. Didn't turn out so hot, if reports are accurate.
Disregard the non-entity. Previous efforts were so hot, the party granted you 5 years in the freezer to cool your jets. That was merely a test run. Proto-gang. Now's the one that counts.
And yet, here you are, back on the scene. That suggests your it levels haven't totally flatlined. One of the most difficult questions in its studies, driven more than a chair of operants and math prodigies to stark, raving insanity. Given that, the consensus seems to be better not lose it in the first place. Call it your look of haggard perplexity, assuming that's not just your normal expression. You've been out of the action for 5 years. I've been in this game a long time. Picked up plenty of neat things that could be of interest to you. Take a recent sample. One of your enemies has set up a secret jail somewhere here in Kisak. Strike a chord?
Nothing at all. Like a bell struck in a vacuum.
The rich one. Enter.
Everything you know has directed you to the bazaar thus far. Doesn't exactly scream the bank.
My offer is this. I share with you a little from my wall of shadows. You help me with some personal research. Because I've been in a few. And set up a few others myself.
Enough said.
Maybe this rendezvous was a bit premature. Tell you what, let's try again once you've gotten a bit more up to speed. I recommend Carmuna, personally. Runs a second-hand clothes stall right by the canal. Terrible gossip. Never heard a secret she couldn't wait to spill. I'll be here if you want to talk more. Forewarned, take your pick. We're nominally in the developed world. That's Amter's home pitch. By that same token, Portaferro was a Lusian penal colony for a long while. Some people think the Weeping Eye are lurking around every corner.
The Weeping Eye, the Los's secret place, the dark subconscious of the state.
Naturally, the techno-fascists are really treating the place like they own it again. Operating out in the open like that suggests confidence, I'd say. Music, not really my area. Spotted a couple teenagers in elaborate costumes. Seem to be fans of some kind.
He takes the disc and adjusts his glasses to get a closer look.
Two things stand out. First, this is an unusual format. Einzelton. Not just standard consumer fare. Question for a disc vendor, I'd say. There's a misanthropic one around the bazaar. Ask him. That right? Solid stagecraft, I'd say.
Spoken like an artist admiring a rival's technique.
I wasn't talking about you. The artist, Ultravioletta, the Lusian electro-pop singer. Gone missing, so they say. Anyone exposed to mass culture in the last few weeks? I hope you're not expecting a list. You, but from a dream. No, nothing at all. Local television personality, though his accent suggests origins in the People's Republics. Lavendy, I'd say.
The PR Lavendy, the less socially developed neighbor of the PR Kohila.
Obviously a lunatic, an addict of some sort. I'd keep my distance, were I you. He's got a glorified rat hole in the housing campaign. Calls it his Fortress Studio. Across the rooftops, I think. Please, up around. There's cavorting with the genius loci, and then there's wrapping your mouth around a raw sewage line. That said, he's got tens of thousands of regular viewers. Not bad for public access. Only what's in his red folder? Do you want to hear it?
With a great sigh, the man leans back in the booth and closes his eyes. And opens his memory house, an old remembrances trick.
Novessa born, graduate of the Polytechniker. No partner or dependents, of course. Father was a noted cosmonaut. Taught life sciences before his recruitment. Cryptonyms are never so arbitrary as they're meant to be. When it comes to names, the mind demands something that sticks. Stiglitz. Thomas.
A name he'll never answer to again. The old man's eyelids flutter as he continues.
No remark-worthy sexual tendencies. High attention to detail. A mild allergy to his own sweat. Occasional flashes of grandiosity. That last point may sound familiar. A joke. Your flashes are more than occasional. You were chosen because his skill sheet was thought to complement your own. How that translates interpersonally. More for you to say. It's certainly pretty for you to think so. And convenient that you'll never find out for certain. And recitation. No such till next time.
Oh, you're back.
As you depart,
Oh, it's you. What? What? What were they doing there? He probably dropped them and someone threw them away thinking they were broken. That makes sense.
a scenario she has been forced to create in order to ignore a heartbreaking truth.
No. No. Thanks for finding them. What takes your fancy? Okay.
The young woman discreetly hands you
Must be some party you're going to. You need anything? Thanks for stopping by.
The pink paper tab is no bigger than a fingernail. One side is decorated with a simple illustration of a cockerel. More specifically, it's an anagadori, an ornamental rooster bred for its long tail. It may have something to do with the process. Onagadori have been painstakingly bred over centuries. Perfecting its specific features has become an obsession for many. The manufacturers of this arousal medicine probably want to favorably associate themselves with the dedication of those cock breeders. Let's not forget the obvious double entendre here. One has to imagine so.
He's going to melt his head.
On the TV, a giant wolf-like creature stands up on its hind legs and howls. Its fur bristles gold. Dangerous, mythical, electrifying. No wonder the kids are watching this. Suddenly, the beast roars and light floods the screen. It's followed by a wet, pulpous sound. An acceptable mimicry of a skull liquefying under extreme thermal stress.
Ecstatic Wolf is awake.
LED lights are distributed evenly along the blade. Durable PVC hilt with textured grip. Impressive armament.
Wolves. It's 66 wolves, and it's our favorite thing in the whole world. It's about a girl who has 66 chambers in her heart, and each one contains a wolf. And the wolves came out to make war with the angels. Each wolf has a special weapon, and they have super violent special attacks too.
On the screen, a headless lupine figure, standing on its back legs, shakes violently. Blood pours from its neck as flesh reknits itself.
That's Loathing Wolf. Another wolf cut his head off because it's the tournament art. But he didn't know Loathing Wolf can heal fast.
Loathing Wolf's not even strong, but he can be scary.
Like when Weary Wolf ate an angel. But she did it slow because she was angry. So the angel was screaming the whole time.
It's the best show. And it's from La Luz.
The words La Luz make your shoulders close in, as if bracing for a hit. Oust the names of these grotesque fascist animals. Speak to them of the people's heroes.
Is it another cartoon?
Recite unto them the tale of the end of history and the triumph of post-historical materialism.
Shh. They're fighting again.
Yeah.
Child wolf hybrids have no place in the workers' paradise.
Everyone loves it. Some of the grown-ups like it, even though it's a cartoon.
Notice that the broadcast is in Mercian, not Lusian, dubbed for a foreign audience. Troubling, especially if Lusian cultural exports are what they primarily consume.
Don't tell that to the music man. He hates it.
A neurotically organized stall, about 10 meters west. A morose man stands there obsessively cleaning a disc-like object.
Yeah, him.
A man of strong opinion that he's not afraid to shout about, even to children.
Well, maybe he should stop then.
He says he won't sell the music discs because it would poison our brain with sonic excrements. Well, maybe. But it won't change his mind because he's a loser. I don't know any. Do you know any, maybe?
Wait, I remember those. From when I was little. There was one with puppets arguing a lot, and another with a green cat who was also a thief to help people.
Neither sounds terribly enticing.
They looked old and ugly. Mom said she watched them as a kid too. This is so much better.
Death to puppets.
It's the place where they make all the cool stuff. It's not like here. I bet they even have flying tuk-tuks.
Ridiculous. These wobbling open chassis abominations can barely function on solid ground.
And also we have cousins over there.
Some Portoferans refer to Lusians as strange cousins, a nod to this island's colonial past.
We don't really know them. I talked to one once, on the phone.
I asked Mom if they could come over one day, and she said it's hard because La Luz is so far.
A mere 4-hour flight, but there are no commercial flights between Portofero and the Illuminated Empire.
What's that?
Perhaps you should let children be children.
Oh, okay. We can just talk about the wolves some more.
It's Pathos Wolf's flaming claymore.
These kids are lost. Their hearts belong to technofascism.
Yeah, my auntie brought it back with her from a trip.
Auntie going on trips to La Luz. Must be a high flyer. Rare in Portofero. The children ignore you.
You again. Any updates on the 9? But how can that be? A gentleman from the Carabineros said it would be in service any day now.
A handsome foreigner. The Carabineros were playing a trick on him.
You'd think with all the empty money this place has gotten, they'd have fixed their aerotrams. What am I supposed to do now? I was simply passing through on my way back home to Sundak. I had been working in Copa Blanco, but the work dried up.
His eyes dart ever so slightly.
That was more than a week ago, and, well, here I am.
Despite his predicament, he's kept up with hygiene. His beard is shaved, his nails well manicured.
I'm a political economist, by training.
It must be said, this is the most handsome political economist you've ever encountered. Something about his jawline makes you overly aware of your skin, your posture, your right nipple hardens. The left hasn't seen him yet.
Well-versed in theoretical and quantitative approaches. No, I must say my combination of the two is rather exceptional. Ah, you're shallow. I see. No, I'd say for a Sunnis man, I'm at best median. Well, not in so many words. Circumstances. I studied on a very generous MTER stipend. One of those programs to take gifted but under-resourced youths from the periphery and educate them in the developed world. But recently, the Sunnis government bought its first computer. Suddenly, they found they no longer have any need for political economists.
People have opinions and bribable brains and all sorts of fluids. Some even like circuses. Even decade-old silicon is an improvement.
Let's put it this way. You don't really hear anyone speaking of the Sunnis socio-economic miracle.
One national computer in the right hands could be, as they say, a game changer.
Long story short, reality forced me to make alternative arrangements. How to put this? You're surely familiar with the concept. A somewhat rich older lady wants a nice exotic husband without the lifelong commitment, yes? Meanwhile, a clean, well-behaved man from the periphery wants to see the world but lacks the necessary capital. The woman pays for his relocation and gains a valuable commodity. A high-quality Sunnis husband.
No twitch, no hesitation. He's reclined into that reality long ago. If a woman of means wants him over other options, that makes him a luxury. He likes that.
A man by mail, a direct order dick. There are many names for it, some more vulgar than others.
A pair of blue boxer briefs hang from a wash line in Besanoble. A plain dress shirt crumpled on a cold bedroom floor in Landau. Somewhere in Treffer, a man leans on a marble counter, breath shallow from exhaustion.
I offer companionship and a fair trade. If you consider it as a set of transactions, love's really no more than an economic problem.
It's not love, only the bourgeois matriarch's malady. Surplus capital, yet a lack of pump action from the masses.
Where else can one find men so clean, attentive, strong, and conversant in political economy?
He seems slightly offended that you're not already familiar with the reputation of Sunnis men.
In other circumstances, I believe it could have worked out brilliantly, but alas, in my case, endogenous factors conspired to thwart my domestic bliss. What can I say? Sunnis are both practical and romantic. I will tell you, madame, it was the lapdogs. All 6 of them. My betrothed. She wanted them to watch our lovemaking, my cleaning and housework, my lectures on recent advances in microfinance. Wherever I turned, there was a creature the size of a throw pillow, its black, wet eyes staring at me.
Watching, trembling from invisible afflictions.
At one moment, I wondered whether I was there for her pleasure or theirs. That's when I realized I need to escape Copablanco as soon as possible. There used to be a more direct route via Havergelia, but the border has been closed since it was re-annexed by La Luz. It's not so easy to get around as it used to be, you know. Back to Zunzak, very far from here. Maybe I'll go to work for my brother, or maybe I'll sign up for a term on the lunar mines. Really, I just want to escape the developed world.
Being sent to organize among the lunar cadmium miners is a common punishment for political offenses in the People's Republics. It is a privilege to raise class consciousness among our lunar comrades. A man turns back to his suitcase.
Off-brand driver, cheap plastic housing.
The man gazes down at a crate of cartridge discs, eyes narrowed, lips drawn. A box of little nemesis. Veins rise like old roots beneath his thin skin.
Mass-produced excrement. These animals pleasure themselves in it.
Those smears near the optical pickups?
That's not damage. Shame. It oozes out over time. You see this? Each one guaranteed for 10,000 replays. Obscene.
No one will ever get it the way he does.
I'm talking about cultural ephemera. Speciality. But, as you can see, I spend my days backed into a corner, hopelessly outnumbered by the dead-eyed horde, dreaming of format-assisted auto-annihilation.
Capital beats down another one. What a joy it is to be unregulated. Elitists like this come in two varieties. Audiophile or cultural nostalgic. This man is definitely the latter.
That's right. Most people can't tell the difference between a base pleasure and a higher one. Imaginative faculties dulled by senseless repetition. Forgive me, friend. I'd mistaken you for a common replayer.
This is the highest compliment he's paid to anyone in months, maybe years. First obstacle avoided in what is evidently a labyrinth of personal ethics.
Too much to ask, I expect, that you're a fellow Einzelton aficionado.
Highly obscure collector's stuff. The kind of information that your brain auto-deletes upon learning.
It's a very obsolete format, but undoubtedly the finest. Go ahead, browse away. My name's Petre. If you need anything, I'll be here, lamenting what's left of the culture.
The vendor's eyes narrow behind his orange lenses.
This is a media store, not the missing persons division. Also one of the GMs with questions like that.
The Guardian Municipal. Street cops. He pruned the conversation forcefully, artificially. There is more.
I try. So most of humanity fades into an indistinguishable morass of banality. This colleague, what does it look like? dialectical-looking glasses. Air of advanced virginity.
Back in photo 24, your would-be double gurgles his ascent.
He definitely had someone when he darkened my store. Small mercies. Yes, he came by here. Little communist lost, adrift among the many wonders of the free market.
You see him now, eyes wide, reward circuit shorted out by the cut and thrust of commerce.
Confused might be a stretch. Let's just say the man was definitely mobile. Your dialectical friend mistook himself for some sort of big money businessman. He wanted the bazaar to import superblock hosiery. Socks to start with, but there was talk of cotton tights, even stockings if the venture took off.
Making inroads with his persona, competent in theatre, at least for this period of play. He needed you.
No. And to be honest, I wouldn't have wasted the stock. He seemed immune to music. You're joking, of course. He didn't even know what a velodisc was, let alone an Einzelton. At a certain point, I'm just debasing myself.
Velodisc, a modern laser hybrid format, played using a heated stylus unit. Astounding sonic fidelity, cause of thousands of home fires.
Of course not. I don't sell songs.
A consecrated ground of tiny, crooked monuments.
So is he all right, your man? Or what? So you're also a communist. But you're not that little, or particularly lost, I'd say.
The vendor gauges you behind his colored lenses, tongue skimming teeth. All across the city of Petra, there is silence. People peer out fearfully from the slivers between curtains.
I'll be blunt. Are you with a weeping eye?
A fresh injection of fear. Primal grade. Such insult. The depressed reactionary has mistaken you for your direct opposite. Your sworn enemy.
Because they've been especially active here recently. Usually they just let things slide. All the Lucian merchandise. Good for everyone. But these days, they're staring right at us. Unblinking. Keep them. If things get too hot, I can always slit my wrists with a shard of velodisc before they take me down.
Oddly specific.
My point is, your colleague was asking questions. Now, something's obviously happened, and here you are, also asking questions. Given the current climate, no one wants to answer these questions, least of all, me. Then I would attempt to educate, obviously. I'm not some kind of street hustler, friend. My merchandise is mega premium, the best this side of the big blockers.
Now speaking proudly of the stock he earlier disparaged.
I'll tell you what I told your sock friend. Speak to the boatman down by the vest docks. He's the one who knows the underground goings-on around here. We're just the vendors. Like I said, no one is going to take kindly to being interrogated these days. But your friend was there. I guarantee it. Talked to the boatman a good half hour. After that, I know nothing. Wonderful. Now for all our sakes, please say no more. If you want to talk media formats, I'm your man. This other stuff. Strange how? Format or content? Esoteric formats, you say? All right. Let's have it. An Einzelton XR.
All pretense drops. the red glints in his lenses. Sublimity, terror, as though you'd unexpectedly flashed one of the faces of God at him.
Where did you get this? Oh, not mine. Humanity's. Einzelton hasn't been available to consumers for a decade. A disc in good condition is worth thousands of sol to people who appreciate its wonders.
Specialists, collectors of the rare and the defunct. People like him, in other words.
You played it. And what? You thought to defile a corpse a little more just for fun? I expected better from you. Better they recalled them all years ago. Better a mass manufacturing fault than this, to save them from this humiliation from being passed around like...
The vendor deflates before you. His rising anger gone in an instant, like a fuse being tripped.
I'm sorry.
Talking to the Einzeltone, not you.
I assume fondling a human corpse would also make you feel pretty weird.
You did a little of that too, but no need to mention.
Again, playing with cadavers would be, I suspect.
Makes sense. Forbidden media, desecration of a tomb, the broken seal. No, more primal, star-written, soul danger.
Degenerate, Lucian, Electro-Truss. There's a new fabricated star every day, it seems, but she's the top of today's pile. Fan shifting. The fact that it's committed to Einzelton suggested some kind of promo copy. Some new advancement of degeneracy from across the Noscurendes. Of course it's real. You can't bootleg an Einzelton. Another of its enduring qualities. This ultraviolet has gone missing at the moment. Kidnapped by counter-fascist radicals, whatever that means. Lucian marketing plot, if you ask me.
Could be the work of the militia Ruben Rouge, extreme communist fringe group. They've ransomed public figures before. The next time the world sees her, she'll be clasping an assault rifle, draped in the flag of the party.
Don't try to brighten my day. Optimism is slow-acting poison.
The vendor looks at the red disc and runs a thumb over its surface.
None of this is the Einzeltone's fault, of course. They can't control what gets seared upon them. No, I'm afraid it's not. No more potential, only anti-potential. Replayability is oblivion. The end. You seem to have misunderstood my soliloquy. It's done. No matter. The beauty and the tragedy of the format. I hope you dispose of it with dignity. I think a private ceremony would be most appropriate. Culture. Portofino. Straight. This new Lucian mania is all-consuming. Nobody wants anything that isn't techno-fascist trash, including, apparently, their own souls.
Obsession with foreign imports. Sufferers of so-called Lucian mania will consult the wall.
That would be preferable to the truth of things. There is no politics to it that they can see. They just want something they can idiotize themselves with. You'd think we had run out of brick walls. I take it this means Luz hasn't managed to make it into wherever you're from. Good for you.
Another victory for our great and anonymous censors.
Provincial, but honest. Silk, sad national poetry. Music, the same kinds they play in the so-called developed world, except a couple decades late and desperately effortful.
Incapable of competing with Lusian media on the most basic neurological level. Fuck this. You want blood, dopamine, wolves.
Yes, exactly. Nice. That's why I'll be here, enjoying the front row seat to the downfall of culture. That is my punishment. Taste. Well, it isn't. Anything we once had has been consumed, overwritten, digested, shat out by losers. And the worst thing is, we know it. We just don't care. The culture blockade was designed to prevent this, but now anyone with the wits to create anything new just spends their time devising ways to get past the signal blockers and access Lucian drivel. The whole thing's a myth anyway. Failed project. Most of the crates I get from Luz come stamped by the Ministry of Mass Culture. They want it all out there. Financially tolerable. Morally abhorrent. Every day there's new format, category, each one more depraved than the last. Of course, I can't say that out loud. Custom, you know?
He says it to everyone.
Well, there was a certain period in the early years of Portofieran independence when everybody on this cursed island was holding their breath waiting for La Luz to invade. But nothing happened. Instead, a few years later, the radio signals began coming in. Pop music, radio operas, later television shows.
The most important history is the one that never makes it into the books, but defines how those books are written or run.
And here we are, on the front line, spreading our ears and legs wide open. I can't be sure, but I have reason to believe the media they let reach us isn't even the same one they broadcast to their own people. It's made for us.
Export-only propaganda. Imagine what they reserve for domestic consumption.
When the city caught on, they put up the signal blockers, but it was too late. Hopelessly. Like heroin addicts, but with no chance of rehabilitation. Picture a dog that shits, then eats it, then shits again. That should give you some idea. People are what they consume. I'll say no more.
It's less an opinion, more of a criminal sentence.
I thought you might, my friend. Sick fucking world. Still, we persevere. Or at least we persevere to persevere. Missing? Easy? I'm not surprised. That fool and his friend would wander into the jaws of a lion if they were told to. That TV show. Idiot with a bag on his head, your regular stop for hysterical lies, paranoia. Every night at 9 p.m.
The old fool was always regurgitating whatever he had heard on there the next day. It's no wonder it eventually led him into trouble.
Underlying the criticism is a lament that his own paranoia has no willing audience.
You'd like to hear more? Correct. It erases acid plays. The inherent idea being, of course, that you never play an Einzelton and have a more profound experience because of it. Some say that was the intention behind the red color scheme, a warning, so you would never misplay it. I think it was an aesthetic choice, personally. With Einzelton XR, the first time is the only time.
That's the brand slogan.
A magnet embedded in the disc erases its contents as it's being listened to.
A technological muscle flex. Reproduction and erasure just millimeters away in space. Milliseconds in time.
As in life, everything happens only once. Replayability is oblivion. The end. It loses its resale value. And the uninspired replayer who listened to it loses a piece of their soul. Would propping your dead grandmother up and trying to have a conversation with her corpse cause psychic damage? Of course it would. Unless you were a monster. Irreparable.
Fanatical, biased, not to be taken literally.
Remnants. Zero remnants.
Remnants, the charge that remains after the removal of a magnetic field. The ghost of magnetic possession.
The Einzelton magnets are so potent that the erasure is absolute. The X is meant to represent the negative, the complete absence of sound or vision. This was a very conceptual time for storage media, you understand.
Port of Firo at the break of the 60s. A teenage boy sits on his bed and gazes at a full-page magazine ad for a brand new single-play format. The crimson of the disc spellbinds him. Excited thumbs leave sweat prints on the page. Below the spotlit red disc in bold-faced text, with Einzelton XR, the first time is the only time. The boy's lips trace the words in awe.
It was a very beautiful time, too. You can imagine the use cases yourself. Rental markets, promotional copies, that sort of thing. The technical origins are trite.
Espionage potential, immense. The burn after reading function built into the medium itself. It would spare many an operant the stomach pains associated with having to devour documents to dispose of them.
Its deeper purpose is simply to exist, to remain in a rarefied realm of pure potentiality and infinite beauty. Don't forget, we too are single play only, erasing ourselves moment by moment. What do I look like to you? A common replayer?
The way he pronounces that word reminds you of old religious women, spitting out curses before sanctifying themselves.
Oh, so you're a semiotician now. I own several, if the word ownership applies to such a delicate relationship, but I would sooner molest myself than an Einzelton XR disc.
A wistful lover, content to gaze upon beauty without ever touching it. Gives him plenty of excuses for the self-molestation, doesn't it?
I judge you to be a woman of culture. You should understand the inherent value of Einzelton XR.
Nothing is ever truly gone. Everything leaves a residue. Everything with a charge can be summoned back.
I'm afraid not. The format is near obsolete. Einzelton is the past, yet it contains the future. How exquisite.
The vendor recoils, as if you just spat at his feet.
So, your question is, Petre, how do I reanimate a corpse? I would class it as necrophilia, actually. I'll be honest, the thought is so disturbing to me that I've never entertained it before. But theoretically...
Breach warning. You are now hacking the firewall of techno-philosophy.
You would have to repolarize, re-remanence processing, probably a concentrated magnetic flip, neodymium grade. It would involve some custom gear, no doubt, but my answer to your distressing question is yes. I think you could. Recapturing something that's already gone? Hopeless, I think. And grotesque. Don't ask me about this again. I feel unclean. Sure.
A low, tilting shelf marked in heavy block letters. Despised subgenres. Various sections are separated by narrow plastic dividers, each one labelled with the same neat script. A baffling assortment. Hairdresser music, children's choirs, self-love anthems, opinionated female vocalists, and too many keyboards. The labelling and sorting is as meticulous as it is uniformly disdainful. More labels, falsetto-centric, made for pederasts, made by pederasts, pretentious time signatures, yodeling, ululations et al. You're not just flipping through records, you're going deeper into Petra's Museum of Loathing. The section Weaponized Boredom includes such titles as Music for Dentist Waiting Rooms and Narcoleptic Landscapes, both by Eloisa Alba. The care placed into the organization is itself an act of love, performed hatefully. The shelf stands, meticulously organized, and you turn your attention